Isekai.
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 72, Getting Even. Can you not see it? I am using my own life to bet on a future. In the fire's blaze, Shen Miao's eyes looked more flourishing than the flames, but her firmness was like an immovable rock. What is the use of a future for the dead? Zi Jingxing snapped, it is too risky. But Shen Miao laughed, and sarcastically said, I am different from Little Marquis. Little Marquis has extensive eyes, and hands, and could get what one wants without much effort. I am however different. If I do not bet my life, my end would be worse than death. I am not even scared of death, how would I be afraid of fire? She paused. You should leave. Zi Jingxing looked at her with a frown, and a look of pensiveness flashed in that pair of beautiful peach blossoms' eyes. He was not a good person, and did not want to put up an act of saving others. That was just an accidental convenience, and now that he recovered his senses, he ridiculed himself for losing his cool. Thinking about this, Zi Jingxin leaned against an unburnt beam with his arms crossed, and looked on with interest. I have forgotten that you are the smart person in the Shen family, and definitely would have the ability to retreat unscathed, but these Marquis want to see just what are your abilities? His purple clothes had some gold lines flowing through, but they were not as dazzling as compared to the smile on his face. The youth's expression was awe-inspiring, and his brows were picturesque, but, at the same time, as if he was resembling an emotional gentleman, there was a look of coldness and cruelty in that pair of eyes. Coupled with his cynical appearance, it made him look even colder. In the banquet at the eastern courtyard, when Ren Wanyan heard that the Shinzin couple had returned, she panicked. She still had a trace of hope in her heart, wishing that this was a prank that the servants played. But, before she could think of a good idea, the servants outside brought a group of people in. The person leading said with a laugh, Mother, this son returned to the capital for your birthday. Mother, do forgive the slight lateness. Everyone's eyes were on the group of people walking in, and the ones in front were a bearded strong man, and a bold and vigorous woman, which were Shen Xin and Lo Zuyan, and the smiling youth behind them was Shen Kaiyu. A moment of joy and laughter as Ren Wanyan was smooth and slick, and was always able to coax the Shinzin couple happy. But, for this to happen so suddenly today, and the fire was not caught earlier or later, but exactly when Shen Miao was trapped in the ancestral hall. Ren Wanyan did not know what to do at that exact moment, and stood rooted on the spot looking silly. Old Shen Furen was also the same. She had no stand or ideas, and only threw some airs in the inner courtyard, that even towards Shen Miao, she would only use means that cannot be seen in broad daylight. So in front of such a large crowd, she was unable to even put up a panicked expression. Chenrikayu was somewhat anxious in her heart, even though she also wanted the first and second household to fight till both sustained injuries, but now she was also in the banquet. If Shinzin had not come back today, and if Shen Miao died in the fire, then it would be alright, since the dead could not testify, and they can say whatever they wanted to have happened. But now, with Shinzin's return, he had eyes to see, and even discerning people could see the matter. What could she do? Shen King and Shen Yu were somewhat fearful of this eldest beau, because Shenzin was after all a general, and always carried a decisive and resolute killing air. They were young delicate females, and would often feel fear. Thus when Shen Yu saw her mother's fearful appearance, she was beside herself with panic. Shen Gui and Shen Wan looked at one another seriously. For so many years, they had concealed everything so well, and never once a mistake was made, so they have never seen this brother of theirs angry before. But, if Shen Miao meets any unexpected misfortune, they could not help but shudder at the things Shen Xin would do. As they were thinking, Shen Xin and his wife had walked to old Shen Furen with Shen Kaiyu into the banquet. Seeing that all the guests were silent, and staring weirdly at them, Lo Zuyan frowned. She felt that something was wrong, but she was unable to tell what had gone wrong. It was Shen Kaiyu that glanced at the table, and carefully and seriously looked at the surroundings before doubtfully asking, "Grandmother, why is younger sister not seen on this table?" With that, Shen Xin and Lo Zuyan also noticed. Shen Yu was present, and even Shen Dongling, the Shu daughter of the second household, was also present, but there was no sight of Shen King and Shen Miao in the group of young ladies. Shen Zin's smile paused as he asked, "Mother, where have Zhao Zhao go?" Old Shen Furen was lost for words. What should she say? Ren Wan Yun herself said to call for guards, but her actions were slow, and did not take the matter to heart. They were all still sitting down, and did not leave the banquet. Grand General Shen. It was Feng and Ning that suddenly stood up, and loudly spoke, "You came back just in time. Just now, the ancestral hall caught fire, and 5th Shen young lady is currently trapped in there." She deliberately made her words outrageous, but this was also done to stand up for Shen Miao. Feng and Ning was very much doted in the Feng family, and had never encountered such a situation as today. Even if she fell, everyone would come out to pour their concern. To see Shen Miao encounter such a danger, and then the Shen residence people all had a calm expression. She felt sympathy for Shen Miao. Since Shen Xin came back in such a coincidence, she quickly complained. When the words were spoken, Shen Xin and Lo Zuyan were stunned a moment. The ancestral hall caught fire, and Shen Miao was trapped in there. Without any rhyme or reason, why would Shen Miao go to the ancestral hall? And the most important thing was, why were Shen Miao in danger, and all these Shen family members could still make merry in the banquet? Ren Wan Yun recovered her senses, and quickly explained, "Eldest brother, eldest Sao, I was about to go to look for guards, when you all returned." Before she could even finish her words, Shen Xin passed by her side, without a second word, and the look that he gave Ren Wan Yun felt like an ice house. It was indeed too scary, and too fierce. Lo Zuyan and Shen Kaiyu also suddenly recovered, and rushed towards the ancestral hall without a second word. In the ancestral hall, the fire got fiercer till it almost became a huge fireball, and in the middle of it stood Shen Miao, who held a wet handkerchief that was prepared beforehand to cover her mouth and nose. Zi Jingxing, however, was looking at her with a frown. Even though there was choking smoke all around, he was very relaxed, and there were no traces of panic as he said to Shen Miao, "If you still do not go out, you will die in here. If you still do not go out, you can only be buried with me." Shen Miao retorted, clever and eloquent. Zi Jingxing smiled without a care. "What are you waiting for?" He had not finished speaking, when he heard a roar from outside. "Zhao Zhao." Zi Jingxing swept his eyes over to the window, and saw that he was able to see an area that was not affected by the flames. The people there were not someone else, but the Shen Xin couple, and Shen Kaiyu. When Shen Xin and Lo Zuyan thought about the fire, they did not expect that the blaze was so ferocious that it burned one's eyes. The ancestral hall was surrounded by a line of guards, but no one went in to save anyone, and just were using some bucket to put out the fire with water. It was like using a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. If one were to wait for them to put it out, How would Shen Miao still be alive? Shen Qiu gritted his teeth. I will go and save younger sister. After finishing speaking, he headed in, but, before he took 2 steps, a beam fell in front with a paw, and the crackling sound of the fire could be heard from the walls, blocking all routes forward. Zhao Zhao, younger sister. In the room, Zi Jingxing raised his eyebrows, and said, so your little name is Zhao Zhao, but, it does not match the person. Zhao means delicate, lovable, frail, pampered. The people I am waiting for have arrived. Little Marquis should think your way out. Shen Miao's brows revealed killing intent. The play she arranged today was to let Shen Xin see very clearly what is the exact situation of this harmonious Shen family, and what kind of evil heart those relatives, that kept on saying that they loved and doted her, had hidden. Generals placed importance on relations, loyalty, and righteousness. They were not fools, but only unwilling to use a vicious mind to surmise others' hearts. She did not have much time to let Shen Xin understand, thus she could only use this direct and violent means to let them see and understand it clearly. She picked up a piece of wood that was burning a little, and savagely put it on her arm. Zi Jingxing was startled for a moment, as Shen Miao clenched her teeth as big drops of sweat flowed down her forehead. She flung away the wood, and on her fair arms, there were burn traces. Zi Jingxing concealed the shock in his heart. In his life, it was not that he did not meet females who were vicious and merciless to themselves, but those women who were suicide soldiers would treat themselves like that without any hesitation. Shen Miao was not a suicide soldier, she was just a noble and delicate young lady. Her life should be just like those noble young ladies in the Ding capital, just like her little name, delicate and soft, and not putting fire on her body without even a wrinkle on her brows. He saw that Shen Miao dabbed some flames onto her body, and started running outside. She stumbled as she ran, but, even though she seems to fall, her actions seemed to be very precise, and those areas that she ran into did not have any flames at all. Zi Jingxing narrowed his eyes, and looked carefully. That route was narrow, and an exit way was set aside in the burning ancestral hall. So someone had already long prepared and poured some stuff that would not catch fire so that one could smoothly escape. Everything was arranged properly by Shen Miao. She used her life to bet on a future, and she won it. So the ones that would suffer bad luck would be others. Zi Jingxing's lips pulled back to a smile as he glanced meaningfully at the figure disappearing into the fire, but he headed towards another exit, which was the back door of the ancestral hall. With a light posture, a punch, and a kick, this extremely dangerous fire was unable to contain him as he left in a blink of an eye. On the other side, the person that provided support had long arrived. Seeing him exiting, he was relieved. Master, the thing is not in the ancestral hall. Shen Xin has returned. Leave, he said very quickly, and with a turn, disappeared into the forest, behind the ancestral hall. Outside, Shen Miao ran out stumbling. Seeing Shen Miao's figure, Shen Qiu suddenly jumped up. Younger sister, Shen Xin, and Lo Zuyan almost cried out in joy. They were also trying to enter the blaze, but who knew that there was simply no way in. Now seeing Shen Miao running out by herself, they were simply overjoyed. Zhao Zhao. When Shen Miao ran out, her legs went soft, and she suddenly fainted. Shen Qiu quickly caught her, and saw that there was a long trace of a ghastly burn on her left arm. Shen Qiu's eyes reddened at once as Shen Miao shrank herself in his arms, and murmured with her eyes closed, "Let me out. I do not want to marry." When Shen Xin and Lo Zuyan heard those words when they rushed over, They immediately froze on the spot. A room in the western courtyard was filled with the thick scent of medicine, and all the servants inside and outside were up all in arms, making this desolated and barren courtyard unexpectedly feel upgraded. And at this moment, it was also lively in the room. I handed Zhao Zhao over to both younger sisters, thinking that younger sisters would help me to look after Zhao Zhao, but, from today, it seems that it is not the case. If it was not that I returned at the right time, I fear that Zhao Zhao would have died in that sea of fire without anyone knowing. Lo Zuyan crossed her hands, and coldly laughed. She was naturally not a person that one could get along with easily, and was considered as low demoness on the battlefield. She was courteous in the Shen residence in remembrance of them teaching Shen Miao, but, who knew that today, it was as if the previous mask was torn away, and with a heart filled with anger, words naturally were relentlessly fierce. Eldest Sao, it is not like this. Ren Wanyan explained with an apologetic smile. Just now, I had already called the guards to extinguish the fire. I see Zhao Zhao as my daughter, and how would I see her trapped in such a dangerous situation? Eldest Sao, you know clearly how I treated Zhao Zhao all these years, else how would Zhao Zhao be so close with us? She was very anxious in her heart, as Lo Zuyan had never been so angry with others before. Most likely, she was not aware of the matters in the inner courtyards, and previously was easily coaxed, but, when she did not overlook or spare anyone, her imposing manner was indeed shocking. Real daughter? Lo Zuyan sneered, my Zhao Zhao cannot afford to have such a vicious mother like you. Lo Zuyan faced Ren Wanyan, and forced Ren Wanyan to take one step back at a time, but, her tone had a cold chill to it. I want to ask younger sister, since it is old Tai Tai's birthday, why was Zhao Zhao alone in the ancestral hall? Fifth daughter. The fifth daughter wanted to go to the ancestral hall to burn incense for the ancestors. Under Lo Zuyan's intense gaze, Ren Wanyan's heart panicked, and she used a clumsy excuse. Ren Wanyan. Lo Zuyan snapped sharply, you using these excuses to lie to me, is taking me as a fool. What locks in the ancestral hall? What forced marriage? This list of offenses, I will count every one of them, and not let the matter down easily. Ren Wanyan. Lo Zuyan was naturally forceful, and when she was vigorous there was a kind of overbearing air. If my Zhao Zhao suffers any little misfortune, see how I am going to get even with you. She said everything in a single breath, shocking everyone in the room that there were some trembling. Lo Zuyan was not in Shen's residence most of the year, and the servants had already not taken her as a true mistress. Moreover, most of the people were Ren Wanyan's spies. When Lo Zuyan came back, she would have a smiling face, and as she was a broad-minded person, and was candid, so everyone only took her as an easy person to deal with, and had never seen her this strict and severe before. Ren Wanyan was unable to spit a word out, and her face was turning purplish. Shen Miao, who was sleeping in the room, turned over, but, her pair of eyes were very clear. She had cracked her brains to act this out, and did not hesitate to leave a scar on herself. This was all to put an end to any possibility of forgiveness for Ren Wanyan. The Shen family members were all good actors, and with some good plays and words, it would make one soft-hearted, unless injuries were caused. There were no parents that could tolerate others harming one's children, just like her Wang Yu and Fu Ming. Now Lo Zuyan would not trust Ren Wanyan and Chen Rikayu as much as previously, and even now treated the second and third households people as enemies, making her burns not in vain. This was good. Shen Xin, who was outside in the courtyard, was facing Shen Wan, and Shen Gui with Shen Kaiyu at the moment. Eldest brother, it is all a misunderstanding. Shen Gui was somewhat in a difficult state. He did not know that Ren Wanyun wanted to exchange Shen Miao's and Shen Qing's marriages, and Shen Miao was locked in the ancestral hall because she had committed an offense. Shen Gui had been brooding about the day in Rongjingtang where Shen Miao contradicted his words, and naturally had no opinion about Shen Miao entering the ancestral hall, but who knew that at the crucial moment this happened? Second Shu, this was not a misunderstanding. Shen Qi stepped forward clenching his fists tightly, as he tried to control his impulse of going forward to turn both of them over before saying, in grandmother's birthday celebration, only my young sister was locked in the ancestral hall alone. I want to ask, what offense did she commit? Why were there so many guards outside the doors, and why these guards did not even go in to save people, and just look from the outside? Second Shu, and third Shu, could I understand that these guards were not there to save anyone, but to block the way of others to take my younger sister's life? Shen Kaiyu was after all young and vigorous, thus he would not think much about the consequences, and speak whatever he thought, and he also did not disappoint Shen Miao's expectations, and even said more serious words than Shen Miao had expected. When these words were spoken, Shen Xin's expression turned even heavier, and Shen Gui and Shen Wan jumped in shock. Shen Wan immediately persuaded, eldest nephew? How could you say so? The fifth daughter is our niece, how could we harm her? He looked at Shen Xin, eldest brother, this was all an accident today. Eldest brother has lived with us for so many years, if we wanted to harm fifth daughter, why would we raise her so big? Don't eldest brother believe us? Shen Wan was a scholar, and with the look of a noble and benevolence, he was able to fool one's heart, as if in the entire world only he was the most upright and honest person. But Shen Xin did not fall for such a trick. If it was before, he would think that it was a misunderstanding, since they had raised Shen Miao so well that Shen Miao was also willing to be close with them. But, after the events of today, when he sees these people again, he only felt that under their gentle skins, the rapacious designs of these people were clear. Thus, in Shen Gui and Shen Wan's shocked eyes, Shen Xin cursed, your mother's fart. Do you think this father is easy to fool? I handed Zhao Zhao over to you all, and you all wanted to kill her, lock her up in the ancestral hall, and force her into marriage? Shen Gui, Shen Wan, you do not think that because this father is not in the capital, this father's daughter can be bullied by you all. Today I, Shen Xin, will put my words down here. Wait till Zhao Zhao wakes up, we will see. Shen Gui and Shen Wan were dumbstruck. Although Shen Xin was an unrefined general for so many years, he had been exercising restraint on his coarse character in front of them, even though it was not as elegant as those scholars. Now with this, they only then knew that Shen Xin was a gangster deep to his bones. Shen Gui and Shen Wan did not know how to continue the conversation with those words. Shen Xin was also extremely angry. When he saw his daughter trapped in the sea of fire, his heart was filled with anger and pain, and when he heard the words Shen Miao said before fainting, it was the last straw that broke the camel's back. The more simple she said, the more one would imagine, so much so that it made Shen Xin suspicious of what kind of days Shen Miao had experienced in the Shen residence. The more he thought, the more he felt disgusted, when he looked at his two younger brothers. If it was possible, Shen Xin would not wait to split these two bastards with his sword. Shut up! An angry voice sounded from behind. Everyone turned around, and saw Fu supporting old Shen Furen over. Old Shen Furen almost had a heart attack due to anxiety. She was fond of her face her entire life, but today in her birthday celebration she lost her face in front of all the famous and reputable people in the Ding capital. All the guests had seen Shen Zin's and Lo Yuyan's denouncing appearance, and knew that they could not stay any longer, so they quickly left in a rush, leaving during the half-banquet. Now that all the guests had left, she quickly rushed over to condemn them, but who knew that she saw the scene of Shen Zin interrogating Shen Gui and Shen Wen, and naturally spoke without hesitation. Shen Qiu turned around, and when he saw old Shen Furen, he greeted, but his attitude was not warm. Previously, when Shen Yuan was around, old Shen Furen would be biased towards him, and everyone said that it was because old Furen did not like fighting and killing. Shen Yuan went the civil official route, so old Furen preferred Shen Yuan. But no matter how old kids were, they would have a kind of intuition. Shen Qiu did not like to be close to old Shen Furen, and since he returned lesser, he was alienated. This time witnessing that Shen Miao fell into a trap, but the banquet could continue, Shen Qiu felt distasteful, and could not wait to immediately stick out for his younger sister. Old Shen Furen eyes crossed from Shen Qiu to Shen Zin, and still put up an attitude. Eldest one, you just returned to the residence, and put that kind of attitude to your two younger brothers? Why you want to put up a general's attitude in my Shen family? When old Shen Furen was young she was a songstress, and needless to say she knew a lot of underhanded means, but, on the surface, she was gentle and virtuous. Thus she could serve the old general well. Before the old general passed on, he told Shen Zin that Shen Gui and Shen Wan took the civil official route, and only Shen Zin would be inheriting the mantle, and must support both younger brothers, and must live in harmony as a family. When old Shen General was alive, both fathers and sons' relationship was extremely deep, thus Shen Zin took his words to heart. So for all these years, the respect for old Shen Furen did not change the slightest. But, in the future, one's feelings would go down. Parents loved their children, children would love the next generation of children, but there were very few that would love the parents more than their children. Shen Zin was also the same, with a mother without any blood relation, and his blood, Shen Zin would naturally not hesitate to choose his flesh and blood. Old Shen Furen's words were of no use in Shen Zin's ears. He cupped his fist in the other hand towards old Shen Furen. Mother, it is not I who is putting up an attitude in the residence, but this matter today is truly suspicious. I was a formidable Grand General, cannot even protect the safety of my daughter. How would I have face to look at the forefathers of the Shen family, and be worthy of the prestige and reputation outside? I will investigate this matter till water recedes, and rocks appear. Today is supposed to be Mother's birthday, but this son is not filial, and cannot watch Zhao Zhao being trapped, and still take it as though nothing had happened, so will only have to apologize in the future to Mother. His words were sarcastically saying that Shen Miao fell into misfortune, but these Shen family people still had the mood to continue with the feast as though nothing had happened. It was indeed excruciating to the heart. Old Shen Furen stood rooted on the floor, as Shen Zin had always acted according to rules and regulations. When he was young, she had thought of using means to end Shen Zin, but the old general doted and loved Shen Zin like his lifeline, that there was no opportunity for her. When Shen Zin grew up, there was no way at all. However, Shen Zin treated her with respect, and she was also happy to keep up the act. This was the first time Shen Zin used such hoarse words to refute her words, and it shocked her that she was unable to say anything for a while. Shinzin then turned his head towards Shen Gui, and Shen Wen, and said with a somber tone, "No matter what exactly happens, I would naturally investigate it carefully. Second young brother, third younger brother, goodbye." He turned, and strode off. Without looking at any one of them, Shen Kaiyu quickly followed. Only after they exited the eastern courtyard, Shinzin then said to Shen Kaiyu, "Later, take the fire rat cloak in the carriage for your younger sister. I see that the dangers in the residence are comparable to the battlefield. Your younger sister needs it more than old Tai Tai." "Yes." Shen Kaiyu was pleased with the turn of events before he thought about something, and said, "Father, younger sister mentioned about marriage before fainting. Let us also investigate it." These matters were not mentioned in the news to the northwestern regions. "Hang," Shinzin said in a deep voice, "I see that there are several demons and monsters in the general residence. This time your younger sister almost lost her life. This father will give a big punishment to all those people who do not want their life." The residence of the Marquis of Linen. When Zi Jingxing returned to the room, he saw a person sitting in front of the table, clad in white blowing robes, and lightly moving his fan while smiling as he looked at him. "What are you here for?" Zi Jingxing put the sword down, and asked, "Heard that you went to Shen residence to look for it. What is the result?" Gao Yang asked. "Nothing. I have long guessed that it is not in the Shen residence." Gao Yang shook his head, and a trace of disappointment flashed on his face. "Since it is not in the Shen residence, what are you planning to do next?" Like the 8 immortals soaring over the ocean, each one showing their special prowess, Zi Jingxing sat opposite him, and poured himself a cup of tea. What else can be done? But, for Shenzhen to return to the capital at this timing, there may be new turmoil that would happen in Mingqi. Gao Yang looked at him, and the fan in his hand slightly paused. "Will the Fu family?" At this time, he put his hands on his neck, and showed a gesture of murdering someone. The Shen family meritorious deeds covered the masters. It is adding oil to the fire, thus there would be such a day sooner or later. Zi Jingxing drank a sip of tea, and assessed in a normal tone without half a trace of sympathy. Gao Yang shrugged his shoulders, and suddenly thought about something. He pulled out a little bluish-green bottle from his arms. "Last time, Tai Yi mentioned that you hurt your arm. This is the medication prescribed for you." "Why need medicine for such a small injury?" Zi Jingxing frowned. "My medication will ensure scars are not left behind." Gao Yang put the bottle of medication into Zi Jingxing's hands. "It is not good to leave a scar." "I am not a female." Zi Jingxing pushed the bottle back, like he was avoiding a plague. "Take it back. If you were a female, you would be crying, and begging for my help." Gao Yang said, "Take it. This medicine is very expensive. One bottle is worth 1,000 gold taels." Zi Jingxing glanced at him, and a look of disdain appeared on his lips, but he suddenly thought about the scene where a young female in a sea of fire did not hesitate to use the burned ancestral tablet to burn her arm, leaving a scar that would not necessarily be. After pondering a while, he reached his hand out, and kept the bottle of medicine.